Here's your God Call with Reverend Bill.
Details, details, details. There are always details. We start off with a project and it turns out that we need some additional information or some parts or something in order to get to the first step. And then before we can get finished with the second step, there's other details and more things to attend to. And sometimes that can be very frustrating until we realize that it is the details that make the final product come alive. There's a lot going on in your life, so embrace the complexity and celebrate the details. That is always so awesome. Ah. Good morning, New Thought Philadelphia. It is wonderful to see everybody again on this, what in the Northeast, in Philly itself, is a sunny and crisp morning in December. I've got folks joining us from all over the country, which is wonderful. It's kind of the advantage of being on Zoom. So you know the rules for Zoom. We've been doing this often enough. Just keep yourself on mute, except when you're going to be sharing or when we're going to make some sort of a racket like now. So I invite you to go ahead and unmute your microphone and repeat after me. I open myself to love.
I open myself to love.
I open myself to joy.
I open myself to joy.
I let the light shine as me.
I let the light shine as me.
I know love is right here, right now.
I know love is right here, right now.
And so it is.
So it is.
Okay, practice one more time with your mute button as I remind you that New Thought Philadelphia is an open and loving community of spiritual adventurers, welcoming each person to experience their divine nature in an empowering space of unconditional love. Whatever path you've been on, whatever brought you to our Zoom today, wherever you're headed next, we have been expecting you. And welcome home. Pretty simple set of agreements that we have here. Actually, it's just one. We believe that there is one power, love, intelligence, or force that creates everything, including each of us, and that we each use that same power, love, intelligence, or force to create our lives according to our beliefs. Or, as we like to say for short, your new life begins with a new thought. If you have an extra electronic device nearby, I, first of all, wouldn't be a bit surprised. And second of all, I know right now that you're not going to need it for the next hour or so. So go ahead and put it on shush or put it in the other room, take the batteries out, underneath the couch cushions, whatever's going to take so that it doesn't interrupt you as we connect with the truth of who and what we are over the course of the next hour. I am Bill Marcioni, spiritual director here at New Thought Philadelphia. We've got a wonderful celebration underway. Our music today is Sonic Yogi. John is in Atlanta and zooming in for us. And we've got our practitioners for today are Joe Catanzaro, and opening with the prayer is Carolyn Nixon from Milwaukee. You're muted.
I'd like you to join me in knowing that there is only one. This energy, light, vibration, which became self-aware and began creating all there is out of itself, revealing itself in, as, and through its creation as the presence of peace, of harmony, of light, of love, of joy, of abundance. This one is all-knowing, all-loving, everywhere present. The center is everywhere, circumference is nowhere. It is that still small voice within which guides me into right, loving, and creative response to whatever I encounter on my path. And I know that this one which creates forms a unified whole of itself and its creation. And because there is only this one, I know that I am of it. I am one with it. I am an essential aspect of this wholeness. And I know this to be true for myself and for everyone present. And it is with deep gratitude that I accept this invitation to enter into sacred, safe, and loving space, to be in community, to commune with the divine. And I know that this celebration is love unfolding, it is peace, it is harmony, it is divine order unfolding. It nourishes, it uplifts, and it nurtures everyone present. And knowing that there is no private good, I know that the good that we experience here moves out into the collective consciousness to bless all life everywhere. And with deep gratitude, I release my word into law, knowing it is fully complete and accomplished right here and right now. I allow it to be so, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Carolyn. Yeah. And the reason that we do a prayer is because it actually changes the experience that we're having. It puts us into a different position and it allows us to experience life in a different way. It actually generates a result. So this is the time that we like to brag on ourselves a little bit, to talk about how the prayers that we've been doing are working in our life. And I'm going to share one just to kick things off because it just happened this morning. So we've got our winter solstice celebration, which is going to be a hybrid thing over at the Falzer Club in East Falls on Wednesday. And we have 3 different technical people who a lot of times help us out with these sorts of things, and they're all unavailable. So I asked the group this morning after we had prayed in, which is the prayer for everything unfolding in perfection, if they knew anybody who had any ideas. And one of you people said, "What about Kate?" And I hadn't even thought about Kate. Kate does our digital media for us. So I texted Kate, and Kate said she's going to be there. And so, bam, so it is. So I love when that happens. I know that Joe said that she has a prayer work story. Anybody else have one? You can wave your hand or you can raise your digital hand using the little reaction button.
Should I start?
Sure.
So I have been tagged as the executor of both my parents' wills. We had a little issue with I don't understand most of the stuff, but my parents had owned some stock, and there's different classes of stock. So they had this one class, and in order to transfer it to the estate or to heirs, it had to be, they said it was going to have to be changed classifications, which doesn't really change the dollar value of the stock, but changes the way the stock is used by boards of directors. It's like I said, it's kind of odd to me, but anyway, there's an advantage to keeping it the class that it is. And they said, well, you can't do that. So we were like this, just bothered about that. And it turns out that when you're transferring it to children or heirs, it doesn't have to change classifications. Probably because, you know, the A-listers on the BOD don't want their kid to get the, you know, the different stock. So, oh, well, whatever. It was just a real big, you know, relief for me to hear that. So
I love when that happens. Anybody else? A prayer work story to share? Sarah.
I have a quick one. We're doing a project down the shore. It's like under the gun. The clients want to have it turned over by Christmas. So there was a lot of different tradespeople on the job site. And at the last 5%, people start getting a little bit weird about saying yes to helping other tradespeople. So I did a prayer on Thursday when we were going down that the right people would be there. And that included me and my team, and that everything would work itself out in divine order. And I didn't know that the electrical inspector was going to be there that day. And electrical inspectors by trade have to be hard nosers, or like hard asses is what I wanted to say, but I wasn't sure if I could say it.
Thank goodness you didn't say it.
I know. And then I said it again. So he had to be kind of prickly and tricky to deal with. And then by the end of the day, he was stopping me to compliment me and give me high fives, because it bring him joy to see a woman in the electrical field. Then I had to remind him I'm not an electrician, and he said, you're still in the field. So right people, right time. It does work when you open yourself up to a good experience. Anything can happen. So I was very grateful for that.
I love that. The beginning was the word, and the word was hard ass. I love it. Anybody else? All right. Then it's going to be Carla's turn, and Carla's going to share some announcements for us.
Woo! Good morning, everyone. These frosty tidbits can be found on our website at newthoughtphilly.org and in our weekly e-newsletter. Please sign up on the website so that we can keep in touch. Twice a day, we have a metaphysical meditation on Zoom. Everyone is welcome. They're inspiring and fun and quick, in less than 15 minutes start to finish. Great way to bookend the day. Our winter solstice celebration is this Wednesday evening. We'll be hybrid at the Falser Club in East Falls and on Zoom with live music by Ginger Coyle. So awesome. Register for free right away so we know who to expect. The Practical Prayer for Real Results online class is now available. It features 18 modules in 5 lessons, including the treatment chant and a live musical experience with Amy Steinberg. Enroll now or get a gift coupon at BeTheLight.com. That's B-the-light.com and save 50%. Winter classes begin in January. We'll have a brand new Divine Path of Intuition class and Beyond Limits, which is our introduction to the powerful New Thought teaching. Episode 80 of Reverend Bill's Practical Prayer podcast is Prosperity, Wealth, Abundance, and Money. Get it where you get your podcasts. You can join the live recording sessions on Monday at 1 p.m. on YouTube and on Facebook Live. Follow our social media on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and now TikTok, and join the 1,261 spiritual adventurers in our group on meetup.com. The Power of 8 Intention Circle meets on Zoom every Monday night at 6:30. The Women's Circle meets on Zoom on the first Monday and the third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. Please contact Sandy for information. We are grateful for your tax-deductible donations. by credit card or debit card, PayPal, check, Venmo, Cash App, or Zelle. Please include New Thought Philly in your year-end giving. Thank you to the wonderful team that makes our Zoom celebrations work and has fun doing it. To join the joy, contact Sandy. Next Sunday is Christmas Day. Instead of the usual Sunday celebration, we'll gather on Zoom for a virtual open house to share holiday cheer, sip some virtual hot cocoa, and sing songs of the season. All are welcome. Reverend Bill and the practitioners are available for professional sessions by appointment. And after the celebration, Carolyn will be available for a quick miracle in the minute prayer. We'll leave the Zoom meeting open for people to talk amongst ourselves. That's it.
Talking amongst ourselves is something we are so good at. Thank you, Carla Ann. That was wonderful. And when we meet in person, we have a blessing for our and a special gift for our second-time visitors, and we also have a blessing and a welcome packet for our first-time visitors. So I'm seeing some folks who either are brand new for us today, or we have not seen you in a long time. So if you would like to identify yourselves, wave your hand, turn on your camera, Martine or Molly, or anybody else who happens to be here. You can go ahead, and we are welcoming you and just love to have you here. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. You guys just receive, okay? You're just going to receive this energy. The rest of us are going to rub our hands together, get some warmth so we can feel the love. I'm going to send that out. You are the bright light of God's love. Thank you for shining that light and sharing your love with us today. And welcome. So as we do the next, I'm going to say we do the next song. Well, we're not going to do the song. Sonic Yogi is going to do the next song, but the rest of us are going to go into gallery view or scroll through the different pictures of people on our device so we can make eye contact with the people we're in community with and really connect, knowing that the eyes that you're looking into and the eyes that you're looking with are the eyes of God. John? Beautiful. Thank you so much, John. And I love being connected in community because Sarah asked a question about what that song was called, and Dina knew it and was able to share it back. And I was preparing to ask John to interrupt his whole thing so he could do that. And look at that, the community comes together, and I just get to talk about interrupting us rather than actually interrupting us. We're gonna have Winnie lead us in the flames of faith now. I love hearing the Texas twang in her voice.
Right. We perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people and all faith come from one power, love, intelligence, which we call spirit or God. We honor the richness that comes from our shared diversity and bless the interwoven energy of the divine, feminine, and masculine. We light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the belief and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring Christ's consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and love. We light the ninth candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the path of universal spiritual principles. As we light the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone or any place you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
Blessed be. The reading today is from 365 Tao, and it's going to be read to us by Sandy.
Good morning. There are three levels of truth: experience, reasoning, and knowing. All other assertions should be rejected. The first type of truth is experience. Once you have experienced something, you know it. No person can persuade you otherwise. The second type is truth gained by reasoning. In this case, the truth cannot be immediately verified because the subject is too small, like atomic principles, or too large, like movement of planets through time, or too abstract, like ideas. Something may be true, but its truth is borne out by analysis rather than physical testing. Either of these two types of truth has a range of validity. They are relative. Therefore, truths are superior to falsehoods, opinions, beliefs, and superstitions. They each have limits. There's a third type of truth that is different from these two. This is a way of direct spiritual knowing, wholly internal. This mode is the direct experience of truth through the opening of higher faculties. Meditation gives one perceptions of absolute certainty. There's no doubt or need of other investigations. This knowledge is beyond words, description, and rationalization. In fact, one must be careful not to let the fruits of one's meditations pass into the realms of rationalization. This will subject you to the relativity of external truths and ruin your confidence. To avoid doubts and conflicting opinions, followers of the Tao keep their revelation secret. Then what is known directly is absolutely yours.
Absolutely beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you, John. So we have a guest speaker today, and yeah, we a lot of times we talk about, good news, bad news, who can tell, all and the way things unfold. There's a story, and we were looking for somebody to help us with our AV. And my daughter Tori, who grew up in this teaching, and then sort of rebelled against it, knew somebody. So she introduced us to her friend Luke, who she went to college with. And so Luke came and started. We were down at the CA house at the Penn campus, and he was shooting the video for us on Sunday mornings. And after a few months, Luke decided that this is the sort of thing that his mom might like. So he invited his mom, Kathy, over. And so Kathy loved it and started participating. And Luke was at that point dating with and living with Sarah. And Sarah had a car. So Sarah would drive Luke over and then sit outside and wait for him. And then after a few weeks of that, said, well, maybe I can go in and see what this is all about. So she did. And it turns out that there was a pretty good fit between Sarah and what New Thought Philly is about. And she got more and more involved and started taking classes. And she joined the board of trustees. And then she and Luke broke up, and he got into grad school and got a Sunday job. So he can't come anymore. And Kathy's off doing other things. And the result of all of this, the unlikely result of all of this, is that here is Sarah on our board of trustees as a committed member of our community through whatever circuitous path that has happened. And she's doing the Sunday talk for us today. And I am delighted to have her. Please welcome Sarah Brown.
Good morning, everybody. I think it's so funny. It definitely is a case of good news, bad news, who can tell? But from where I sit, it's a bunch of good news. I first want to say thank you, start out in gratitude, because you guys could be anywhere on your Sunday morning. And although you're not just here to see me, you're here to partake and be part of New Thought Philly. That's really what it's all about. It's all one, but without each of us participating and partaking in the service in the way that we know how, that's uniquely ours, I don't know what it looks like. So thank you. I'm definitely filled by being part of this community, and I look forward to it every week. So thank you for every part that you play. I would normally say, like, I'm going to stop talking now. That's like my line, but the whole thing is me talking. So I'm here to share an experience, a story, as it were, that I experienced quite recently. So back in the dark days of February of this year, I planned with one of my girlfriends to take a road trip down to the northernmost part of the Outer Banks in North Carolina. So really close to Virginia, but still in North Carolina. This location, when we booked it, it was February. So anything was going to be warm. Anything was going to be better than what we were experiencing. So we found this really awesome house that had 4 bedrooms, a hot tub. It was right there in the perfect price point. So we nabbed it. Time is funny though, and a fickle mind and a forgetful mind is funny too, because as months and months and months go by, I had completely forgotten about it. So a couple of months before the trip, which I forgot to tell you, was during Halloween. So on Halloween and the first week of November. So going to the beach during that time, of course, in February, felt like a really good idea. So as we get closer, my friend was unable to come. So now I'm saddled with, well, what do I do? Do I, take the leap of faith, and do I pay the extra 50% for the deposit that I hadn't covered yet? And do I, I forgot to mention, do I rent a 4-wheel drive vehicle? Because the beach house itself is on the part of the beach that you can only access by having a 4-wheel drive vehicle, making it a little bit more of a thing to think about. Do I do this? Do I really leap in? So I was kind of stuck in that interchange between fear and faith. And I decided that I was going to go with faith, and I was going to continue on, and I was going to make it happen. The whole point of why does this beach house have to be on the 4-wheel drive beach is because this is the area where all of the majestic wild horses of North Carolina roam free. So this was just another layer of this beautiful experience that was to come. So once I had finally made the decision, I'm doing it, let's make it happen, I talked my partner into it, and they took off work. So we were one step closer. Then I found out that there's actually an app, who knew, called Turo, just like Airbnb replacing hotels, where you can rent someone's vehicle on an app. So I tracked it down, and I finally made the decision that I was going to rent a Jeep Wrangler and live a dream that had, in my belief system, told myself wasn't for me. So we talk a lot about our belief system, the experiences that we have over time that solidify in our thought processes and indicate every single decision that we ever make. And one of the ones that I have had forever, I blame Barbie, perhaps like Barbie Jeeps or something, but I blame Barbie for having this idea in my head that the only people who are allowed, and allowed is a weird word, but allowed in my mind to drive a Jeep would be someone who was blonde and gorgeous and liked to surf and was actually good at surfing. So I had this belief system in my mind up until then that I finally have this like very niche opportunity to go and say, I'm going to put that belief system to the side for now, and I'm going to do this. So it's cold. No one's going to be surfing. It's not the peak season, so my blonde hair won't offend anyone. And if they are, they already know they're not here during peak season. Okay. So I made the choice. We reached out to the people, yada, yada, yada. I got the Jeep. So Taekwon and I, my partner, we drove my car to go pick up the Jeep. Right when I see the Jeep off the bat, I'm looking up at this big, giant, they must have enhanced the wheels on this Jeep, because it wasn't just a regular Jeep. This was like a big, big, big Jeep. And they had modified it to take the little part that you step, like the little ledge that you step on to get in. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, this Jeep is twice my size. How am I going to do this? And then Yoda in my head, there is no try, there is only do. I'm like, all right, get your butt up there. Let's make it happen. So I get my butt in the seat, and I went from feeling small and worried to all of the sudden like proud and capable and able to do it. So there's a little bit more of the story where we have to jockey some cars around, and then I get Taekwon in the car, but we'll just skip to now we're in the car together. So we have this 6-7 hour long drive that we're going to partake on. And I'm starting to get used to this very loud, very big machinery under my hands, under my butt, under our bodies, keeping us safe. So I'm noticing at stoplights, on the highway, people are just throwing me peace signs, like just giving it to me. And I'm like, oh my God, like what is going on here? And then Ty mentions like, oh yeah, I think it's a Jeep thing. Like they just like throw peace signs out. And so then I'm starting to get excited. And I'm like, in my mind, it felt like Pokemon, like gotta catch them all. Like I've got to get all of the peace signs. I've got to give all of the peace signs. And so, you'd think that after like the 20 or 30th person sending you a sign of peace that it would get old. But I don't know if it's just me, but this is my story. So I'll say it like as if it's everyone. It was not getting old. Every single time I would see, even if it was somebody just holding their steering wheel and doing like the piece, like minimal effort, I felt it like a jolt of excitement and recognition and appreciation. And whether I made it mean all of those things or it really meant all of those things, it didn't matter because that was how it fell for me. So I think it's funny that whenever I have, I don't want to speak for everyone this time, whenever I have a really bright, wonderful experience that creates a ton of light, my brain is quick to check that shadow and see when that doesn't happen, what does that mean? So then my negative monkey mind started talking to me when I would give a peace sign and I wouldn't receive that back, or when I would make eye contact with the driver and there would be no initiation of that recognition of like, hey, we're both in Jeeps, like, let's do the peace thing. And so I felt myself definitely take a downward spiral for a quick moment. It was like one whole song. I remember it was one whole song. And I'm like, sucking on it I'm sucking on my teeth and I'm like chewing it around. Like, well, what was wrong with me that person didn't want to give me a peace sign? Like, I don't understand. Like, what did I do? And then after the end of that song and there was silence and my monkey mind was still in it, I remembered to remember the 4 agreements and to not take it personally and to not make assumptions about what it means that I didn't receive that acknowledgement in return. And that was huge. Being able to like stop it by the end of that song and be like, you don't know what that person's going through. Maybe they're thinking about some really terrible thing. Maybe they're doing a math equation in their brain and it's too hard. They can't throw a peace sign. It'll throw off the numbers in their brain. Like, who knows what people are going through? You just have to not take it personally and let it go. So I'm like right back in the groove of feeling the excitement and giving the peace signs out and just like, gotta catch them all. So we get to the beach, and on the beach, not just the Jeep drivers, but everybody starts giving the peace signs. So because, it's the middle of winter, we're all out here in our 4-wheel drive capable vehicles, we're going to acknowledge each other. So it was yet another added layer of acknowledgement and appreciation. And then I started thinking to myself, like, and this is like after we're there, we're settled in, and I'm still just ruminating over this experience and how fun it felt and how excited I would be to find other Jeeps to give that love right back or to give it in the first place. And so I started thinking to myself, like, well, like, how come we all don't do this? And then I was like, well, you can't just start peace signing people in your Nissan Sentra, like other Nissan Sentras aren't going to know what to do. And, then I started thinking about Carla Ann specifically and the Eagles and how people, as people, we group ourselves and create these signs, create these identifiers so that other people can recognize us and have that moment of, woo, Eagles, yeah, Phillies, like whatever it is, or Jeeps, or what college you went to, or, what spiritual community that you're in. I started thinking like, okay, well, how do I do that universally? Like, what's the universal way to acknowledge and love people without creating a group, without creating a border? And then I was like, oh my gosh, Sarah, you already know, you just forgot. And this is just another way to remember. And then it hit me that the truth is, I can do that by just recognizing the like capital T truth inside of all of us, that we are all made from, created of that same essence. And each of us have this beautiful opportunity to show each other. Someone said earlier, be the light, like show each other the way that spirit shines perfectly and individually and like, I'm going to cry, but like a little pretty kaleidoscope as us, right? So the point of what I'm trying to make is having this experience of something that I didn't necessarily sign up for. Getting the Jeep wasn't so that I could have this experience and send peace and love out into the world, but that's what I got. And it ties back in because I almost didn't even go on that trip. If I had chosen money and and it's not even about the money, it's about like the mentality that the money means more, that the money, not spending the money, it means I'm safer. Yeah, if I don't spend the money, then I have that money and I'll need that money in some other way, shape, or form, right? But it's not even about that. It's about the mindset. As soon as I was open to the experience showed me what I like know to be true, but forget often, and have a hard time in the midst of the minutia of everyday life remembering. It just felt so beautiful. And when I was on my way back and I had that like final, like, oh, I can do it already. I can do it every moment. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm inviting anyone that I meet anywhere to show me what like to show me, but like not like show me what you got, but like a soft show me, like an invitation for the like, I don't know what this is, but this is like the purest, sweetest part of that person's being to shine through and to delight themselves and me and everyone involved. And I feel like when I forget to do that, I find that I'm annoyed as hell all the time. But when I remember that it's all one, we're all the unique expression of the same thing, sharing ourselves in the way that we know how best and safest, then I feel like I am like, what's the word? Surprisingly delighted all of the time when I'm in that state of mind and in that being. So this is my sharing of a story in hopes that it sounds like an invitation to do that too, because it's just as much an invitation for peace in our world and love in our space as much as it is for everyone that we come face to face with. So thank you for letting me blibber blabber at you about my Jeep. And I look forward to sharing the light with all of you more and more in an upward spiral. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, John. And thank you, Sarah. I think we're really primed to settle in for some meditation. And what came up for me was how Sarah started with gratitude. Started from that really deep standing powerfully in gratitude. And that can be it's kind of like that becomes the source of the power when you can stand in that gratitude. And then be open to maybe those three kinds of truth. Sarah had the experience of the power and the sharing and the back and forth with the peace signs and being in that community, being connected. And then she went into a little bit of analysis about it, or another kind of truth. At the other end, she was open to this truth from intuition, from the spirit. And that connected her to everything, not just the Jeep drivers. It's like heart wisdom. Not what's in your head, but with what's within your heart and your spirit, and how do you connect in a bigger way. So let's use some of that to meditate. Think about the openness and the standing in gratitude and being sensitive and open and exploring that heart wisdom, that intuition, that truth that comes from what we really can't identify, but we know it's true. It's got nothing to do with the physical world. It's all about spiritual world. It's all about, as the author of the reading would say, the Tao, but it's basically spirit. Let's get comfortable in our chairs, sit up straight, feet flat on the floor, be in a position where you feel supported and comfortable. Take some slow, deep breaths to get grounded. Big breath in, hold it at the top, and release. One more breath. Take it in, hold it, and release. Feel that relaxation, feel that little bit of expansion. Stretch out. See if you can feel, even mentally, stretch out, and you're in this space, but you can't reach the other end of it. One more deep breath. Hold it and release. And settle into that gratitude and that openness. But as we follow the breath, we breathe in connection and we breathe out the truth. Or as we breathe, just make room for more and more of that truth to flow in. Feel yourself fill with that knowing.
It has been said that the longest journey that anyone ever makes is from the head to the heart. And as we move from what we perceive through our human senses, through our intellect, to move into the wisdom of the heart, into intuition, to gratitude, to peace. Moving out of what we consider as the familiar, as the comfortable, and away from the yes, but yeah, what, and just go with it, open up to it. Everything can be experienced with a fully expanded consciousness. And in one revision of the Lord's Prayer, where it says, lead us not into temptation, and that temptation in this rewrite is lead us not into forgetfulness, lead us into divine remembrance of who we are, what we are, of that presence and power within us, of that power of our intuition and our own free will, and to go, to follow our intuition, and to be in that gratitude to attract more and more and more. And all of that good, that sacredness, that wholeness is present in what we would consider the daily and the common, the ordinary. It is not the sole province of the synagogue, the mosque, or the ashram. It is present in real, what we call real life, in this human path. So right here and right now, I know, I declare, I affirm this willingness to move beyond what is comfortable and familiar, and to open my heart, open myself to this love, to all of this good that is available. To be willing, to be accepting, to extend it, to reciprocate it, and to just dwell in that sweet spot in the universe where the wholeness, the richness, the sweetness of the God is God or Goddess is ever present. I claim this for myself, and I claim this for everyone present who wishes to accept this. And I release my word into that law, that creative medium that is the creative aspect of this presence and power, which is all there is. I release this word into that law, and it is complete and accomplished. It is fulfilled right here and right now. And so it is.
Take another deep breath in. Bring your attention back to your body. Bring your awareness back into the Zoom as Sonic Yogi does another song. That was beautiful. Oh, thank you so much, John. Thank you, Carolyn and Joe and Sarah and all of that. Wonderful, wonderful plantings. And of course, this is the wisdom share. This is where we get to bring up what's come up for us during the celebration so far. And I, of course, can't help myself and now know much more about the Jeep wave, which is actually a thing than I ever did before. And Sarah, I don't know if you've Googled it, but this has been around since World War II. The people who were driving Jeeps in World War II would give each other the peace sign, and they would be able to identify that that was another good guy rather than somebody who had stolen the Jeep and the uniforms or some such. And of course, being the commercial nation that we are, there's now a loyalty program called the Jeep Wave that owners can enroll in. God bless us. If you've got something you'd like to share, go ahead and raise your hand. Jesus has demonstrated how you can do that using the reaction button. Go ahead, Jesus.
Yeah, thank you, Rev. This celebration, it reminds me of my four sisters, you know, Carolyn, Joe, Sandy, and Sarah. You know, I got three older sister and one younger, but I won't say that about Sarah because I guess she could be my daughter, but in this time we're gonna play it as a sister, which she is. But yeah, it's just wonderful the way each one put this celebration together and started with so much peace and joy and Sarah, I love your story. Sarah's for me, you know, she's a good storyteller. So I always enjoy, and she's saying something, you know, just like Annie and each one, you know, and Joe with her that prayer story also. So, but yeah, I saw like the Christ daughter and the childlike faith coming together in your story and what you saw, you know, I know in the Jeep, and then you want at least maybe use the Nissan Sentra. Maybe we could use also the Honda, you know, but it's that divinity you saw in each one, and you saw God in each one. So it's like we could do that with each other when we recognize God in each one of us. That's what you get. Did you get that joy? And that's exactly what was demonstrated there. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jesus. Dina, and then Annie.
Wow. What an amazing service today. John sits at the on the intersection of ancient and technology. And the way you weave that together is so masterful, so beautiful. I appreciate you so much. And every prayer, Joe, Carolyn, amazing, loved it. And Sarah, you're a happy bubble. I always, it's just like this effervescent, light, sparkly bubble. And I really appreciate you. I appreciate this whole day. Thank you, each and every one. Thanks.
Thank you, Dina. Annie.
I don't think I can say it as well as Dina, but what I was thinking was, of course, Sarah went out in a Jeep and got peace, because you just bring so much light and joy and fun that it reflected back to you, even though you didn't even know that was a thing. You know, I used to ride motorcycles, and when you ride, you like wave to the person that's passing you. And it doesn't matter what kind of motorcycle they're riding. Like, you know, they're riding it doesn't even matter, because like there's separate sides. Like, you know, oh, I would never ride a crotch rocket, or I'd never ride a Harley. It's like, but everybody waves. And when I first started riding, I didn't like the wave because it made me feel like I was gonna fall. But that's neither here nor there. I just, it was a really good reminder to me. I'm going through a big transition in my life. And it was the reminder that I needed to hear that, you know, what you put out, that's going to come back to you. And that's peace and that's joy and fun. And Sarah, when you mentioned like the money part, I mean, everybody, they used to jokingly say that money Annie, like I do have a lot of faith that in prosperity and that I'll be supported, but that fear crops up and I have to remember to look to the truth that, you know, I will be supported and the universe is totally abundant, and to remember to come up and show up to this weekly thing or meditations, because that practice reinforces my belief system. And what do I want to reinforce in my belief system? I mean, I want to bring more joy and prosperity. I don't want to sit by myself and live in fear. So I appreciate that this supportive community is here and that I can tap into that whenever I want.
Beautiful. Thank you, Annie. Yeah, and life is often described as a spiral, and we have the opportunity to be on an ever upward spiral or a downward spiral. And so, as Annie said, you know, you put your attention onto the experience that you want to have and invite in something new and wonderful. Carla has the offering for us.
Yes, I do. As just demonstrated, New Thought Philadelphia is all about spreading the love. Our community is supported by your contributions. The gift you share helps fund our work in the world, and the way you shine your light spreads the love. We are grateful for every way you share. We don't have a basket today, but there is a donate button on the website to make donations by credit card or PayPal. You can also mail a check to our office in Ardmore, and there's Zelle and Cash App and PayPal and just everything. The offering affirmation is on the screen, and we will say the affirmation together. I live
in an abundant universe.
I am one
with the infinite source of all good.
I'm the
I'm
center
of conscious prosperity.
I
I
enjoy
enjoy the richness of life.
I bless my
I bless
gifts.
my gifts.
I share my
My
gifts.
gifts, gratitude, and joy.
I
Know that as I give,
receive.
I do receive.
So it is.
Oh, it
is.
is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are so blessed and so grateful. Exercise your mute button one more time as John takes us home. One more song. peace sign becomes the metaphysical teaching symbol. Let's close with a nice cacophony. Go ahead, unmute your microphone and repeat after me. I am love.
I am
I am love.
I am light.
I
I
am
am
light.
light.
I am peace.
I am
I am peace.
I let the love flow.
I let the love
Let the love flow.
flow.
I let the light shine.
I let the
Let
light
the light
shine.
shine.
So it is.
And
What
so
else?
it
So it is.
is.
Okay, so it is.
Yay! That was awesome.
Thank
It
you, Sarah.
was.
Thank you guys. I was so nervous.